Up next is David Suda. He's the president and CEO of Terra. David, I think you're in the room already. You can turn on your camera, and we're ready to roll.
Interesting couple of days, and we will touch on the high points today. This is a very simple story. I want everybody to have the opportunity to take the recent pullback here in the gold price the last couple of days as an opportunity to, or a second chance to get into the market, because so many thought that perhaps things had run and that they'd missed it. So here we are. This is a photo from Yellowknife. That's also my background. Behind me, the drill's turning in the winter, and as I'll tell you coming up, we expect them to turn this summer as well. So Terra, multi-million ounce potential in Yellowknife, Northwest Territories. It's a very exciting project, and we will be making some forward-looking statements because we look forward to everything that's going to happen. So the highlights of the project are very simple. This is a district scale property. It's 790 square kilometers nearly, adjacent to the city of Yellowknife, with all of its infrastructure, all of its skilled people and labor, and all of its mining history. This is a very prolific region. In the past, it's mined north of 14 million ounces at over half an ounce grade, and there's extremely strong stakeholder support. Last fall, we put out our first mineral resource, which was came out at 735,000 ounces at 1.8 grams a ton, and our mission is to improve on that. We want to build on that. We want to up the ounces, and we want to up the grade. And so we started with doing that at Samotto this winter. We drilled about 10,000 meters. All the holes hit gold. And if you go to our website, you can see an excellent verified model where you can see the sections and where exactly the holes landed vis-a-vis the pit shells. And what's most exciting is what's coming up. We're about to drill high grade. Very shortly, the drill will start to turn on the Yellowknife project on a target called Crestorum. We've got 7 announced planned holes, and then those comprise of just under 5,000 meters, and we'll keep the market up to date on what the next 5,000 meters will look like. We also intend to put out an update to the current resource once we've completed our drilling at Crestorum. The exploration potential at this project is tremendous. It's obviously been, as I said, historically a very prolific district. And while we add ounces to our resource, we also want to take the opportunity to unlock the potential for a big discovery again in this camp. No great asset is going to see the light of day without a strong team. And so we certainly feel that we have that, and we also will continue to add to that team as we see appropriate and possible. So I would think that many of you watching know Gerald Paneton. He was the founder of Detour. Very successful track record, very strong background in geology and capital markets. He joined the team last fall, and has since purchased over 5 million shares in the company. Myself, I come from equity capital markets. Some of you know me from my days at Paradigm Capital and or Beacon Securities, and I joined the company seeing this as a tremendous opportunity to take advantage of what I then saw as a coming bull market in gold. I was able to join Joe Campbell, who was the founder, has stayed with the company, remains the COO, also has a tremendous track record. And I'll also highlight that we've got Louis Dion on our board of directors. He is a mining engineer, worked with Gerald, and together they built several mines, including Detour. So we are very well positioned, as you can see by this map. We are adjacent to the city of Yellowknife, and we are on trend with the 2 past producing mines. The city of Yellowknife has an airport, as you can see on the map. We've got about 70 kilometers of strike. And the main thing here is that it's been relatively unexplored or underexplored. You know, there was this tremendous past production right next to town, and there is roughly 70 kilometers of strike that has been underexplored. The 14 million ounces that were produced on roughly 7 or 8 kilometers of that 70. This slide is really just to show you that we are next to town. The targets that make up the resource are proximal to town just by about 12 kilometers. And you can see that the targets that make up the inferred resource lie in very close proximity to each other as well along strike here. I think the most important thing about this slide is just for you to take away the fact that over here on the left on this long section, this is a composite long section, and you can see that at surface where the 3 stars are, the Con mine was produced about 1 million ounces at roughly 20 grams a ton, and then went very deep after that into the Campbell Shear, where they produced about 5 million ounces at 16 grams a ton. If you look at our targets, the ones that comprise the current resource, you can see that what's missing is drilling at depth, and that's what we'll focus on coming up here in August, September, October with our high-grade drilling. So the primary takeaway again here is that these targets are open along strike and at depth. So you can see here that these targets are all sort of within a 3 kilometer radius. The majors that look at these projects want to see that you know, there's the potential for a mine to develop. Our focus here is not so much talking about mines yet, but making that big discovery, putting ounces on the table. We've got a lot of work to do to catch up, so to speak, with that under the theme of being underexplored or under-drilled. Samotto is a large deposit at surface. It's bulk tonnage potential. Again, it's the one that we drilled in the wintertime. You can, again, go to the Verify model and see exactly what we did there. What we're very excited to do now is to go and drill on Crestorum, which is a high-grade deposit, which has only been drilled very shallow, but at that, it's also been drilled quite a bit. Almost at 25 meter centers so far. So we have a good handle on the geometry. I'll be able to show you that in a slide coming up. And here you'll see the breakdown of that first mineral resource. What's really important to note here is that this was all run at $1,300 gold. And I think that there's been a lot of you know, arm waving and talk about the gold price. And I think that, you know, we have to be conservative. We have to think about what's coming in the future. We know that, you know, and we've heard statements coming out of some of the majors. Mr. Bristow recently out in the press talking about keeping gold price expectations down and making sure that you're profitable at those levels. So we're very happy that we ran our numbers at $1,300 gold, and you can see that our numbers look strong even with that input. Our exploration program coming up here, as I said, it's going to be about 7 deep holes on Crestorum. Again, we want to see the potential of this target. It's time to take a swing here and add some significant ounces to the resource. And then we'll move on to our next target, which is the Campbell Shear, which is obviously very exciting as it hosted 5 million of the 6 million ounces at the Con mine. And we'll be out to the market with specific plans on how we're going to attack that here this fall. And of course, another major catalyst for us is going to be to update our 43-101 around year end. I just want everybody to take note of this Crestorum target because it is analogous to the Con vein, which I've mentioned, which had produced nearly 1 million ounces at nearly 20 grams a ton. And so that's why we're so excited about this target. You can see at surface, it's very similar to what it was at the Con mine. And now it behooves us to go and drill deep and see what the potential of this is. I'd like to also just mention, you know, Crestorum does have a component with a small sort of a starter pit element in the 43101, but this is largely a quartz vein hosted deep target, quite dissimilar from Samotto. So there's also quite a lot of optionality in this camp. You know, this is not a one-trick pony. Take a look at this section here. You can see where we're planning to drill the holes. 4 holes down here deep, and it's off my screen. So if anybody's not seeing the whole screen, I'm hoping that somebody might make a comment. But these stars indicate the first 7 holes that we plan to drill, and you can see that they're well below where the extent of our drilling knowledge is, but this target has been no slouch in the past. As you can see, we've highlighted some of the drill intersections from previous campaigns. And then on to the Campbell Shear, which is of course very exciting. Mr. Panaton, when he joined the company, was very keen to get this on the table as a priority target. It had thus far been left as undrilled largely by us, not a lot of follow-up to the historical past, and just generally underexplored in the camp. There's a hole which we've noted here, KA06, that was drilled in the 60s, 8 meters over, 8 grams over 8 meters, almost 8.23 over 7.8. And that one has never been followed up. It's on our property, it's south of the Con Mine. And we believe it to be sitting right on that Campbell Shear. We also drilled 2 holes quite far north of KA06 and into just south of the targets that we'll be drilling this summer at the top of the map. And those 2 holes hit the stratigraphy, which looks pretty much identical to the Campbell Shear. So we have more work to do there and follow-up drilling. But if you can take a look at the photo, you can see the similarities. And we've got a photo that indicates some visible gold. The assay values didn't come up with any significant gold mineralization. However, you know, we're in the right rocks. And certainly as a first stab, we're extremely excited to see that there's a good shot that the Campbell Shear, which was so prolific, exists to the north of town and to the north of those 2 past producing mines. Moving on, this slide is just a recap of Samotto. I think for the sake of time and to keep the conference moving, I would just encourage people to go to the website and see what kind of success we certainly felt we had. And didn't necessarily get credit for in a market that was much different than the one that we're currently in. There's a slide with a picture of that model that you can actually go through, turn around and see. It's quite interactive, and we thank Verify for their work through putting that up for us. So obviously, again, I think, you know, one of the key highlights here is that we are right next to town. It allows us to be drilling during these times where regulations are strict on health and safety with the COVID-19 pandemic. We were able to complete our winter drilling program under pandemic, and we're able to, you know, plan to restart here with without, you know, having to have a camp, a mess hall. People are able to go to work and then go sleep in their own bed at night. It's very important. And we have all the infrastructure in town for that. Our community engagement is very strong. Joe Campbell and his team have done a tremendous job. This was one of the main things that, you know, boxes that I needed to tick in my due diligence when I was joining the company. You probably all be surprised to know that I'm likely one of the only CEOs in the junior mining space that has an environmental studies background. So this is something that, you know, I knew to be very important to a project. And I think that they've done a tremendous job and will continue to work very hard on that. We believe that as guests of the Northwest Territories, we have positioned ourselves very well. In the capital structure and ownership, we just raised $7 million, so we're funded to do everything that I've spoken about in terms of our plans to drill. Our plan is to keep drilling and not stop. We've got about $7.5 million in treasury. We've got very strong insider ownership, and on the last financing that was led by BMO, we had largely institutional support, which has been a bit of a change, but we also have a great retail shareholder base, and we very much will continue to pursue that. And with that, I'd like to conclude. Thank you very much.